Hi everyone. Today we are going to see about control statements in web technology. So, introduction to PHP control statements. So, as the name suggests, control statements are the statements which controls the execution of the program. So, we have basically we have three types of control statements. One is sequential, next one is the selection, and the third one is iteration. So the sequential control statement is nothing but without any interruption, the program will be executed in a straight manner as it is indicated. So next one is selection statement. So the selection statement is also known as decision making statement because here we will be check based on a condition. We will be designing where what are the steps, what are the procedures, what are the next steps to be proceeded. So that's why it is called as decision statement or selection statement. So under decision selection statement, we have so many types: a simple if statement, if else statement, and nested if else. Likewise, we have some three four categories. And the third one is iteration. So iteration is iterative statements are also called as looping statements because here also we will be checking a condition. So if the condition is true, we will be executing the steps for a repeated number of times. So that's why it is called as looping statements. So first one is if else statement. So if else statements comes up, we have three categories here. One is a if statement, if else statement, and else if statement. Okay, so if statement is nothing but a simple if statement. So we will check for a condition. Condition is true, we will be executing the process. Otherwise, we will be exiting the process. So next one is if else statement. So if else statements here will be checking for a condition. So here, if the condition is true, we are going to execute a set of code. Otherwise, we will be executing some other set of statements that are available in the else statement. Next one is else if statement. So first we will be checking for a condition. If the condition is true, a set of statements will be executed. Otherwise, it will move to some other condition that is mentioned in the else if statement. So it will check for the next condition. If the condition is true, it will be executed. So it will move on to some other conditions that we have defined one after the other. So it will check multiple conditions. So if none of the condition is true, it will execute the statement which is mentioned in the else block. So here is an example for simple if statement. Here we have created a variable called a t with the value 14. So here we will be checking in if statement, we are going to check whether the value of t is less than 20. So if it is true, it is going to display a statement all have a good day. So here the condition is true. That's why it is displaying the statement as have a good day. Next is the example for if else statement. So in if else statement, here we have just called a function called date. So uh, date function. So here, sorry, one second. So here we have created a variable called t with the function date function. So date function always gives the current date and time for the given current date and time. So here we will check whether the current time is less than 20. So if the current time is less than 20, it will be displaying the output as have a good day. Otherwise, it will display the output as have a good night. So this is what a if else statement will do. Next one is if else if statement. So here else if statement is nothing but multiple condition statement. So here also we have used date function and here and we are just checking whether the current time is less than 10. If it is less than 10, we will be saying it as have a good time. And if it is less than 20, will be displaying it as have a good day. And if none of the condition is true, it will say us Have a good night. So next one is switch statement. So switch statement is we can say that switch statement is an alternative to else if statement also in it, because in else if statement we'll be executing so many conditions. We'll be checking for multiple conditions. If none of the condition is true, we will be executing the statements which are mentioned in the else block. So the that format is given for the else if for instead of else if format, we can use switch statement. So in switch statement, so in as I said, in health state, if else if statement, I've checked for two conditions, right? So one is it should be either the value should be less than 10, and another is value should be less than 20. So for if a value first value is true, it will display good morning. The second value is true, it will be displaying good day. Otherwise, the none of the none of the values are true, it will still go to the else part, right? So in the same way, switch statement will be all these conditions will be with the values with the will be mentioned with the cases. So for it we will be mentioning as case 1, case 2, case 3. So next comes the looping statement. So looping statement, as I said, there are for three types: while loop, for loop, and do while loop. Okay, so while loop is nothing but we will first check for a condition, and if the condition is true, we will be executing the statements for a repeated number of times. So while loop is considered as a entry control loop, because before entering into the loop, we will be checking for a condition. So if the condition is true only, we will be entering into the loop. Otherwise, we will not enter into the loop. So at times, this while loop will be get into the state called infinite loop. So infinite loop is nothing but it will execute the desired output, but for n number of times it will go on. So it will not end the loop itself. So that condition is stated as infinite loop. So to face such things, we will be using a statement called break. So if we use break statement in a while loop, so the while loop will be executing the statement once, and it will exit from the loop. So here is an example for while loop. So in this while loop, we have just declared a initialized variable I with the value 1, and we have given a condition called I is less than 6. So at first I value is 1, so 1 is less than 6. So I will print the value of I and I plus plus. So here in while statement we have to give the instruction to move on to the next value. So we have given it as I plus plus. So now the current value is 2. So it will check whether 2 is less than 6. Condition is true. Again, it will print the value of I, and again I plus plus. Now the value will become 3. So 3 is less than 6. So it will print the value of I plus plus value will become 4. So again, it will check 4 is less than 6. So it will print the value of 4, and I plus plus, it will become 5. So after it will check 5 is less than 6. Again, it will print the value of I, and again now the I value becomes 6. So 6 is less than 6. So no, the condition is not true. So it will comes out of the loop. So that's why we are getting the output as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next one is do while statement. So do while statement is called as exit control loop, because in do while statement, first as the name suggests, it will instruct us to do the process. So first it will do the process, then only it checks for the conditions. So that's why it is stated as an exit control loop. So in do while statement, either the condition is true or false, the process will be executed at least once. So whereas in while statement, if the condition is not true, the process will not be executed. Thoroughly, it will not execute the process. Whereas in do while, since it checks for the condition at the last, at least once the process will be executed if the condition is false. So here is an example for a do while statement. So in do while statement, the same thing we are as the earlier example, just the same condition we have stated here. I is less than 6. So here the value of I is declared as 8. So it gets into the do while loop. So in first it has got the instruction as do. So it will print the value of I. So the value of I is 8. So next I plus plus, so the value becomes 9. So now it goes for the condition. So the value of I should be less than 6. So what is the previous value of 8? Value of I 8. So 8 is not less than 6. So it will not continue the loop, and it comes out of the loop, and it will display the message we have written in the program. As you can see, the code is executed once, even if the condition is never true. So it displays that message and it will comes out. Next one is for loop. So for loop is also called as an entry control loop. So here we have three parts. One is initialization, condition, and increment decrement. So initialization is where we will be initializing the counter variable with the initial values, and the condition will be given. So the increment or decrement will be also uh, given. So here is an example. So for x equal to 0 and x equal to 0, x is the counter variable here, and it is initialized with the value 0, and the condition given here is x value should be less than equal to 10. So, and the increment decrement operator, we have we have given here, we have determined here the increment operator x plus plus. So what is the work it is going to do is it is going to display the value of a number. So first it starts with the value 0. It will print the value of 0. Again, it will post for x plus plus first. So the value becomes 1. Again, it will check the condition. So 1 is less than equal to 10. So it displays the value 1. Again, it goes for 2. Again, it goes for 3. So same way it goes for until 10. So 10 is less than equal to 10. It will display the value of 10. After seeing this increment operator, now the value of 10 will become 11. It will check for the condition 11. If it is 11 is less than equal to 10, condition is not true, it will comes out of the loop. That's why it is executing the values from 0 to 10. Next one is for each loop. So this for each loop is a for each loop in this it is somewhat differentiated from for loop. In for loop, we have to initialize the counter variable, we have to specify the condition, and we have to mention whether it is increment or decrement. So all those things needed to be uh, provided in the for loop. Whereas in for each loop, it automatically whatever the thing we have to refer should be mentioned. So automatically what it does, it will start from the beginning value, and it will go on till it reaches the end value. It will move on to the next value automatically. It doesn't need any integration. So this is the work of for each loop. Here is an example. We have created an array called color with four values: red, green, blue, yellow. So all the values have been displayed using for each loop. So in this for each loop, we have just used a keyword called as. Okay, colors as $x. So this is what we have done. We have just mentioned the thing which we are going to refer. So now there is no initialization, there is no increment, decrement, there is no condition. So all the things will be done automatically without any prior intimation. So this is the work of for each loop. Next one is, as I said earlier, we will be facing some condition called infinite loop. So to face that problem, we will be using some break statement, right? So So these break continue statements are called as jumping statement. So break statement is always allows us to break the work which we are doing and come out of that. And continue statement allows us to continue the process and move on to the next one. Okay. So next one is ternary operator. So ternary operator is there's a if else statement is alternated with this ternary operator. So in if else statement, we will be checking for a condition. The condition is true. One part of plan A will be executed. Otherwise, plan B will be executed. So the same process is done with the help of a ternary operator. So for ternary operator, we will be using this question mark symbol. So we will be stating the condition first. So after the question mark, if the condition is true, true block statement should be mentioned. Otherwise, false block statement should be mentioned. So when to use this ternary operator? So ternary operator can be used when there is only one line to be executed with if block as well as with else block. So if there is only one statement to be executed, at that time, we can use this ternary operator. So till now, we have discussed what are the control statements. So we have three types. One is sequential, selection, and iteration. So sequential is nothing but we have the program will be executed in a straight manner. And selection statement is also called as decision making statement. So in decision making statement, based on a condition, a decision will be made. So we have studied three types. One is a simple if else, and else if statement. We have a nested if statement, nested if else statements also. And next one is looping statement. In looping statement, we have studied three types. One is for loop, while loop, and do while loop. And while loop, first one is while loop. While loop is an entry control, and for loop is also is considered as entry control, whereas do while is considered as exit control. So this while and for loop will check for a condition first. If the condition is true, it will continue the process to do for given number of times until the condition becomes false. Whereas this do while, it will execute the process first and then it checks for the condition. So even if the condition is false, it will be giving us an output at least once. Whereas this for loop and while loop will not do that. And one more thing we have discussed is for each loop. So for each loop, we don't need to mention the initial and end value. It will move on to the next value automatically, and the process will be repeated for until it reaches the end of the value. Thank you. So these are the things we have discussed, and thank you.